Hello. Hi, Espa. Congrats on getting first. And thanks for the lurk. I think we're in ads, so I'll wait a bit. Let me just check my settings in the meantime. Should I turn some of these? We'll figure things out. And what happened to the game? Oh, game capture. There we go. I think we should be back from the ads, so let's start this game. I've heard a lot of good things about this, but I'm not sure. I tried it with a mouse and keyboard and there were some issues. It was stuttering quite a bit, so I had to pull out my controller, which I haven't used in ages. I've only played like one game with a controller before. Roast marshmallow. Dr. Slate, let's roast some marshmallows. Extend stick. Oh no. That was a nice sound. Oops. Can we just keep eating marshmallows? Infinite marshmallows. Oh, see, that's the stutter I was getting with the... Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was much worse with the mouse, but it's still there with the controller too. Okay, maybe we leave now. Oh my god. That's very stuttery. There's our pilot pack from your pre-launch camp out under the stars, I see. So it's launch day, eh? Seems like only yesterday you joined the space program, and suddenly here you are, leaving on your first solo voyage. What do you say? Ready to get this beauty off the ground? It's all fueled up and ready to go. Am I dropping any frames or anything? I guess not. Looks good. All systems go. I'm ready if you are. You sure you fixed the retro rockets? I'm ready if you are. Are you kidding? Of course I'm ready. It's finally time to test the new landing hydraulics with the pilot instead of the auto flight system. Speaking of pilots, make sure you don't crash the ship the first time you put it down here. Anyways, you'll need to get the launch codes from Hornfels at the observatory before you can lift off. Just bring those here once you've said your goodbyes or whatever. It seems fine. Okay, there's the stutter. Maybe I turn down the settings a bit. Do we need anti-aliasing? Let's turn everything down to like, oh, not eighth. Half. Medium, medium, medium. Oh, I have a flashlight. Can I crouch? Oh, what is... What? Zoom level. Interesting. Which way am I? Oh my god. Talk to Mika. Hey, it's you. Slade said you're blasting off in your ship today. I'm really excited to see the launch. Aren't you gonna go into space? Aren't you? You better not have changed your mind. Hey, I'm still going. I want to practice with the pro before I leave. I hear you and Slade beefed up the model ship. Can I see it? Yeah, we recalibrated the controls and installed better thrusters. Want to give it a test drive? Slade says it's just like the real thing, only less likely to start a fire. Try to land on one of the geyser pools. Show me what you got. Okay. But I've turned the volume down a bit. Horizontal thrusters, okay. Down, up thrusters. Okay, that's the down thrusters. Oh. I see why people said that this game is easier on a controller. Whoa, 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 whoa. How deep does that go? What the hell? Whoa. Oh my gosh. Okay, I can already tell that this is going to be an uphill battle for me to control the ship. Oh my god. Let's get some more practice in. Oh my god, no, 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 no. Absolute disaster class. Let's try to go for a soft takeoff. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was not a soft takeoff. Okay, so whenever I do that, the game stutters a little bit. Yeah, look at that. Do I need to turn the graphics down? I don't think it's a graphics thing. I think it's an issue with the game because I read a lot of complaints about stuttering on. Hi Ryan, thanks for the follow. I even got some like mods for this to fix like I tried fixing the mouse. I got a mod for letting it run in the background. Oh wait, I can use the right stick to stabilize myself. I see, but it's kind of inverted. Oh my god. You know what? We'll figure things out as we go. Wow, that was just like the time the external fuel tanks exploded on re-entry. You'll be okay flying the big one, right? Sure. Oh, I'm a blue alien. I guess I'm like those guys. Orphe. Hey yo, hatchling. I, am I a hatchling who's being sent out to space, really? I hear you're leaving us to seek adventure among the stars. When you return, let's you, me, and Gosan open up a bottle of the good stuff. I'm only seeking adventure among one star, actually. Other stars are too far away. The good stuff is less delicious sap wine and more daunting digestive challenge. Another metaphor ruined in the name of scientific accuracy. Nevertheless, I do hope you enjoy your travels. Good luck. Okay. Roll tile. You're actually blasting off in that thing, huh? They really don't explode as often anymore. Until my odds of survival are statistically quite high. Yeah, the space program's certainly come a long way. I should probably thank you for causing fewer flash fires than your predecessors. By the way, good luck with those retro rockets. Use satellite camera. Forward snapshot, rear view snap. The projector is linked to a Sky Shiver satellite which is currently orbiting Timber Earth. Satellite is equipped with 2 onboard cameras. See if you can take a snapshot of our village. It's like a stop motion movie. Okay, let's leave. And I'm so not used to a controller. I'm like an absolute controller noob. This pilot seat, used by pioneering astronaut Felspar, is all that remains of our inaugural flight into space. Although it's been argued with the distinction requiring a breathtakingly liberal definition of flight, that day will nevertheless always be remembered as a landmark achievement in Hardian history. Okay. There's a lot to explore, isn't there? Launch tower is that way. Good to know. Observatory. Tefra. Hello, astronaut. If it isn't my favorite troublemaker, what's with the radio? We wanted to play hide and seek, but Moiraine won't let us borrow their signal scope because it's really delicate and not supposed to be thrown around like that. Hey, hey, can we use your signal scope? Can we? Can we, please? We'll even let you be it. Shh. Should I? Sure, let's play. Woohoo! Okay, here are the rules. Galena and me will hide with these radios, and you'll use your signal scope to find us. Last one to be found wins. Okay, close your eyes and start counting. Lissy, thank you for the raid. Let me shout you out. Give me a second. What were you playing? Okay, you were playing the same game. How has it been? You've just been playing Outer Wilds too. Nice. How far are you into the game? I'm just starting out. In fact, like I think this is probably gonna be like a short, like hour, maybe 2 hour stream. I'm just testing out. It's been good, but I understand nothing. Yeah, I've heard there's a lot of lore to the game. Oh, Tivat, thank you for the raid. A few hours, so therefore further than you. It takes a bit of time to get it. Yeah, I was trying like trying to use the model ship thing. It was so difficult to control. Let me shout out. How was your Chaos Zero Nightmare TV? It's hard to rate people because I don't want spoilers, so you were the perfect person for it. Yes, I just started. I have worst deck ever. Yeah, I think you only played for like, what, 20, 30 minutes? I was in your stream earlier. Let me drop a follow. I realize I need to rest. Yes. And you're gonna play that horror game tomorrow, you said. Anyway, like any of you raiders, if you need to, let me try the mouse and keyboard now. Any of you need to rest, feel free to go. And yeah, raid and run is completely fine. Take care of yourself. 20 meters. Oh, I see you. Oh, you found me. My hiding spot was super good. Don't forget you have to find both of us, okay? That is loud. Whoa. Controls are a bit wonky. Maybe I keep this. Maybe I turn these down. Is this a horror game? I don't think it is. I think it's like an exploration kind of game. Oh yeah, right, I was supposed to use this, right? You're you're that way. A chill game, yeah, I think so. I don't know much about it because apparently it's like one of those games which you don't want to be spoiled. Like it's a story heavy game, so I've just heard a lot of good things about it, but I don't know much details. I won. I'm happy. Thanks for playing with us. You're welcome. So this thing lets me detect frequencies. What is the red stuff? Whoa. What the hell? There's something really far away. Huh. Interesting, Doctor. Nice. Hello there, Space Cadet. I hear you're leaving the crater today. If you meet any of the other travelers up there, remind them to take proper care of their instruments, won't you? Tell me about the travelers' instruments. Where's the observatory? Just saying hi before I leave. Let's talk about this. Oh, sure. I made all of their instruments, you know. Let me see. There's Jerd's drums, Rebek's banjo, and Gabro's flute. And Felspar's harmonica, of course, though Felspar's been missing for a long time. Sometimes it feels like just yesterday they were playing their harmonica around the campfire. Anyway, you hear music in space. That'll be one of the space program's other travelers. If you feel like company, you can always pull out your signal scope and track them down. Wait, so is that what I'm hearing? That's relatively close, but there was something. Whoa. Whoa. Is that like the satellite? What the? Zoom in. What is that? Okay, I'm wasting too much time here, but this is already quite interesting. Can we go inside any of these buildings? I guess not. Observatory, is it up there? This guy had some dialogue about it, right? Where's the observatory? It's questions like that what make us worried about you going up into space on your own, you know? The observatory is up the path behind the waterfall. There are a couple of signs marking the way, but really you just keep going up and then hook a right when you get to the zero-G cave. Okay, there's the zero-G cave. I hope I didn't miss anything here. Oh. So it's launch day. Hal's gonna miss you. Speaking of launch day, I was thinking about it, and the platform those ships launched from is getting old. Isn't it about time you built a new, less flammable one? That big tree in the village would be the perfect choice. I wouldn't mind helping out the space program. Just say the word. Nice try. We all know you have it up for that tree. What? No, I just think it's in the way and someone ought to chop it down, you know? Specifically me. Haha, you think this has to do with the time I fell out of it and broke my arm? That was when we were hatchlings. Who would hold a grudge for that long? I think you, buddy. I think you hold the grudge. Okay, let's go to the observatory. Can we run? I guess not. Fishing rhyme, singing helps me pass the time. You're leaving the crater? Guess we'll all be a little busier without you around to lend a hand. That big water planet, Giant's Deep, that's where I'd go. Why is that? One time, after the rest of the village had left to sleep, and it was just the two of us sitting around the campfire, Gabbro told me about their first trip to Giant's Deep. They landed their ship easily enough in the waves, but couldn't see too far down on account of how murky the water was, I guess. Too dark. Gabbro wants to see what lay beneath the surface. Anyway, I'm a rest, so bye. Yes, of course. Go rest. Good night. Sleep well. Gabriel wants to see what lay beneath the surface, so they decided to travel deeper. They traveled down and down. But suddenly, Gabriel couldn't go any further. Oh, tell me more. Yeah, Giant's Deep has a current you can't pass through. And oh my god, this is such a rude option. Yeah, Giant's Deep has a current you can't pass through. Sure, okay, but shut up a minute. This is the good part. As though exercising a will of its own, the water was refusing to let Gabriel go any deeper. It held Gabriel back, almost as if it were trying to protect them from something. And then, in the terrible darkness, Gabriel saw it. The tentacle of some hideous beast. Ah, is this all true? Was there sap wine involved during Gabriel's campfire story? Come to think of it, don't you have somewhere you should be exploring that isn't here? Okay, I love the dynamic between these two. Observatory, Zero G Cave. Let's go. That's cool. We can listen to like who's whistling on that? Okay, who are you? Arcos. Hi, astronaut. You know the patch of ghost matter inside this fence? Gaussen said it used to be bigger when they were hatchling, because ghost matter evaporates. It just takes a super long time to go away. I hope there's still ghost matter in the village where I'm a grown up. Ghost matter is awesome. Ghost matter is super cool, it'll burn the heck out of you. You shouldn't be throwing rocks in there, ghost matter is dangerous. You know ghost matter is how Tectite lost their foot, right? This is like scaring them, and this is just being a bit nicer about it. Obviously, that's what makes it so awesome. Geez, I'm not dumb enough to touch it. Oh, you're such a grown-up. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have been so nice. How high can I jump? Can I mantle? I guess not. Wait, they said not to touch it, right? What happens if I do? What the hell? These little bits of music are so soothing. Danger. Inside this fence is a pocket of ghost matter, a strange and dangerous substance that's invisible to naked eyes. The good news is that you can detect ghost matter with a camera. Moving through ghost matter is uniquely painful and will probably kill you. Don't complain to me if you hurt yourself fooling around. Wait, camera? What's my camera? Is there a camera? I mean, I could look at controls, but I'll just... Oh, I don't have a camera. I need to... I see. Interesting. I guess that's Zero G Cave, yeah. Observatory is that way. I shall explore everything before we go ahead. East Nomai Ruins. Lawn Scout. What's a scout? Okay, that's fun. Hey, that's so much fun. But I think it's time to leave. What is this? North Young Bark Crater. Okay, east was Nomai Ruins, Young Bark Crater, Quantum Grove Crater, Geyser Mountains. What is that? What the hell is that? Can things floating in space even be like that non-uniform? I thought gravity and all that stuff would squish things into circular forms. Moraine. Oh, hello, astronaut. This is good weather for your launch, right? That's lucky. What are you up to? Any good sounds from space today? There are. My signal scope is set to the Outer Wilds Ventures frequency, so I'm listening to the Traveler's music. Last night I heard Rebec's banjo coming from Brittle Hollow. I hope that means they're safe. I can hear different planets too. It depends on what time of day or night it is, since different planets are in the sky at different times. Signal scopes are cool. Yeah. I noticed that these people. What is that? I noticed that these people use the they them pronouns. So they are like not gendered beings. Oh, I love this mechanic already, man. Just listening to what people on other planets are playing. Okay, Zero G Caves. Who are you? Gosan. Hey, I thought I might see you before the big launch. Nerves getting the better of you? Right, like you were nervous for your first flight. I'm a little nervous, yeah. Are you kidding? I'm natural at this. I feel like this would be the most natural response. Good, everyone should be a bit nervous going into space. I got cocky during my first flight and nearly put a new crater in the moon. Still, I was never as green as you. Hey, I've gotten better. That's not what Slate says. Oi, you know better than to believe a word that lunatic says about me. They're still sore. I made them install a safety harness in the cockpit, claimed it would throw off the thrust to weight ratio. Honestly, one of these days I'm gonna throw off Slate's thrust to weight ratio. So listen, there's a satellite, which is definitely not just a piece of broken mining equipment set up down in the zero-G cave and in need of repairs. If you're looking for a little last-minute zero-G practice, head down the lift and into the cave. Or don't, so long as you're confident you can make ship repairs in space. One repaired satellite coming up. Cool, get to it and try not to concuss yourself right before your first launch. Okay, I guess this takes me into zero-G caves. Okay, give me a second. A lot of my friends are streaming right now. I should drop a lurk in their streams. Just a second. Okay, let's get back to it. Oh, that is dark. Flashlight. Thank you. Zero G cave. Suit up. Thanks for the check-in, Kyle. How are you doing? Okay, left control F shift. Why you stream an ape? Yeah. Whoa. It's okay. Go to sleep. I'm just trying out this new game. Whoa. Do I have... Oh, that's fun. I think I'm supposed to go deep down. No audio, I'm veg. Okay, let me reply to you. Um, oh, that looks dark. 0 of 3 repaired. E hold repair. Okay, that's 1 down. I'm getting a phone call. I'll just try to get this done first. Okay, how do I find this thing? Can I use my... Oh. Whoa, 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 slow down. Okay, that's 2 repaired. Okay, this is kind of tricky, but it's doable. Are we done? Which way is up again? I hope that is so. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I hope that way is up. Okay. I think if I'm reading the compass in the bottom, yeah, I think I'm upright. Yes. That's good. Oops. Bonked myself a little there. Anything to explore here? Okay, give me a second. I'm getting a phone call from my family and I should really pick up. I will leave you with some music. That was the cutest phone call I've had. It was just my nephew. He just wanted to call and say I love you to everyone. That was so cute. Um, Let me just check my phone to see if I've missed anything. Okay, another friend to drop a lurk on. Why is there no music in this section of the game? Is it because I turned the music too far down? Nah, I guess zero G caves just don't have music. Whoa, there's a dude there. Dr. Tough, hey, nice of you to drop down. I'm getting some zero G time in. Give me the dirt. Guess where I'm going today? Give me the dirt. Hi, Otter. Let me shout you out. Isn't it time for you to sleep? Since you mostly work on SEA timings. Give me the dirt. Some fresh dirt. Not much happening down here lately, let me think. Come to think of it, Tektite saw something crash outside of the village crater earlier. That's new and different. Oh hey, how about that? Yeah, they were on fire watch with the old scout launcher and saw smoke, so they went to check it out. Safety first, right? No, I'm kidding. I said that to Tektite once. Pretty rude how long they laugh for, if you ask me. Okay. See, Otter, this is you. Stuff. Isn't there a guy in like Minu's chat who always comes and says Otter is so tough? I forget who it is, but someone says that, right? I've seen this person come in and say that multiple times. Atticus. Yeah. Nicely done. Of course, it'll be a little more stressful when you're hurtling through space, but just remember your training and try not to hit anything big. Okay, I can see you're itching to get off this rock, so go get the launch codes from the observatory and get out of here already. Best of luck out there, and hey, try to avoid getting yourself killed now that I've put so much time into training you, got it? He says that in a lot of streamers we see each other in. Yeah, I've seen him saying that. Hey, come say hi to your old flight coach before you launch. I've got zero G training set up if you want a refresher. Done that already. Is this water? I guess it's shallow. Hornfels, Gossan, Felspar, Esker, Slate. Outer Walls Ventures, founding. Hi, Chu. Thanks for the lurk. Let me shout you out. Chu is currently streaming the lads main quest. I think I don't really play lads, so I'm not sure how it goes, but yeah, if anyone's interested in that, go check her out, drop her a follow. Outer Wilds Ventures for founding members, clockwise from top left, Hornfels, Gossan, Slate, and Felspar. Who's Esker? Big thanks to these additional founding members of Outer Wilds Ventures, without whom we would never have gotten off the ground. Matthew Steinhauer, Ben Etherington, Quartia the Pie, Jordan Frith. Okay, these are basically their Patreon supporters or something, right? Early supporters for the game, I'm pretty sure. Homebreaker, I know that guy, he's a YouTuber. Um, Outer Wilds Ventures, Timber Heart's first and only space program, was founded to explore the farthest reaches of our solar system. Felspar was the first Hearthian to be intentionally launched into space. They completed the first orbit around Timber Hearth and later made the first of what would be many landings on our moon, the Atoll Rock. Talk to Hal. Hey, it's my favorite astronaut. Launch day at last, huh, buddy? It's the translator tool's inaugural flight, too. I'm so excited it's making me nauseous. Just think, you'll be able to translate any Nomai text you want, anywhere you are. The two of us put a lot of hours into inventing that tool, so don't break it, okay? Haha. Oh, jeez, do not break it. Ignore me, okay? I'm just nervous, and I'm not even the one going into space. How are you feeling? I'm excited. Good. You've only been waiting for this day since we were hatchlings. I can't wait to see all your training pay off. So, what's the dirt? You here to see the new Nomai statue? New statue? You haven't heard? Gabbro brought it back with them from Giant's Deep, and Hornfels just finished prepping it for display. This is it right here. Neat, huh? Makes me wish we could see what a real life Nomai looks like, but I guess this is as close as we'll get. Check it out. Looks like they had fur. Fur is weird. This is the first fully intact statue we've found, you know? And for how old it is, it's in great shape. Ah, geez, I get a little carried away there. Go on, you have a ship to launch. Take care of yourself out there, you hear? This remarkably intact statue was carved by the Nomai, an ancient species who dwelled in our solar system thousands of years ago. The statue provides us with our most detailed look yet at the Nomai, who appear to have been covered in a layer of fur. Note the decorative jewelry that has been carved as part of the antlers. Although their artifacts and structures have been found on almost every planet in this solar system, um, we still have no idea where this species came from or what happened to them. Give me 1 second, please. So, this person that has never streamed before, as far as I know, is streaming. So, I thought I would go check out their stream, but They're not even affiliated, but they have their chat set to subscriber only. So I can't even let them know. I wonder if that's intentional or if it's just a mistake. Anyway, if you're following them, you can whisper and let them know. Yeah. Wonder if they'll check their whisper, but I will do that. Hey, I was lurking in your stream, but your chat is set to sub only, so I don't think anyone can chat there. Just letting you know in case it was not intentional. Okay. They haven't seen the whisper. I don't know if they're going to see it while streaming, but it's okay. Let's get back to the game. We still have no idea where the species came from or what happened to them. It's a very humanoid face with some animalistic features. I've managed to avoid spoilers about this game, but I'm pretty sure the Nomai have a lot to do with the lore in this game. Cassava, we're nearly ready. Felix and I have finished construction, and she says calibrating the device won't take long. Okay. So their script is based on curves. Felix, fortunately, the Atle Rock's lack of atmosphere will make calibration simple. After all this time, I'm thrilled to finally resume our search. What are you? This piece of Nomai writing was essential to deciphering their unique language. Although this text is linear, Nomai text often branches off from a central point. Interestingly, each branch tends to be written by a different author. Interesting. Wow, that is a very unique script. It looks like organic chemistry. I used to hate organic chemistry. Coming soon. Future site of our next exhibit. If you enjoyed your time with Outer Files, please consider supporting a planned museum expansion. Our quest to explore the furthest reaches of our solar system wouldn't be possible without generous visitors like you. We thank you profusely for your support and we hope to see you again. I like how the devs have just integrated their credits into the game itself. Watch closely, these balls move on their own. The ground is perfectly level, so what do you think causes this spooky motion? The answer is the moon. As it orbits our planet, the Atle Rock's gravity pulls on objects from different directions. In fact, it's pulling on you right now. I see it moving. That's nice. What the hell? It's like a anglerfish piranha hybrid. This anglerfish specimen was found attached to the landing gear of one of our ships that flew close to dark bramble. It appears well suited to living in dark spaces with minimal atmosphere. They saw my whisper. I think they changed to follower only. No, it's still sub only. Let me check on my phone if this is a bug on my end. I'm helping them debug their stream live. I'm so sorry for anyone who's waiting for the Outer Wilds gameplay. But you gotta help new streamers, right? Good night, daughter. Sleep well. They finally fixed their sub only. Nice. Okay. This is the kind of game where I don't want to just skip ahead. I just want to read every bit of information. This crystal was taken from a Nomai ruin on Brittle Hollow. It seems to create a local gravity distortion and was most likely used to traverse steep surfaces. Try it out. What? Oh my god, that is trippy. Ah, there's probably gonna be... What? There's probably gonna be puzzles where you need to walk on walls and stuff. The Nomai technology brought back from space by our astronauts has been a great boon to Outer Wilds ventures, allowing us to modify expedition gear in exciting and useful ways. For example, the Little Scout now boasts a warp retrieval capability that allows astronauts to recall their scouts almost instantly. This has dramatically reduced the number of scouts lost to the depths of space. Yeah, seems like a good technology to have to be able to just retrieve stuff, warp it back to your hand. Are those Nomai skulls? What you see here are parts of the Nomai skeleton. We can tell from the skulls that they possessed antlers and, quite unusually, only 3 eyes. The Nomai body was most likely adapted for living exclusively on land. Differences in the Nomai's anatomy, such as their shockingly fragile bone structures, show us that Hardians couldn't have descended from Nomaian ancestors. It's not clear where the Nomai originated from or why they disappeared. We hope to find more clues to this puzzle as we explore our solar system. Aside from the dwellings and structures they built, the Nomai also made art. This decorated pottery was discovered on Brittle's Hollow. Some ancient Nomai art depicts strange animals, foreign celestial objects, and other subjects that can't be found in our solar system, which makes us wonder whether the Nomai originated elsewhere in the universe or simply had vibrant imaginations. Were the Nomai born in our solar system, or were they born among other stars and planets? And if they were, how and why did they come here? These are just some of the questions we hope to answer through further xenoarchaeological expeditions. I've seen that, I've seen that. I've seen that, I've seen... Stars like our sun generate light and heat by fusing hydrogen into helium. As it grows older, the star runs out of hydrogen and starts to contract. As the star's core contracts, it gets hotter, causing the outer layers to expand. The star has become a red giant. When the core is hot enough, it starts to fuse helium into carbon. If a star is massive enough, it will continue to fuse carbon into even heavier elements like iron. Ultimately, the star will collapse under its own gravity and then explode in a violent event called a supernova. Based on Church's observations, this will one day be the fate of our own sun. Why do I feel like this is relevant? Whoa, that was cool. Close map, pan view, rotate view, zoom view. Timber hearth. The Attle Rock. The Hourglass Twins, Ash and Ember. Brittle Hollow. Hollow's Lantern. Giant's Deep Dark Bramble. Wait, this is what I was looking at. It looked a lot closer and a lot bigger. Interesting. I'm guessing that's Hornfels. Talk to Hornfels. There you are. I just finished pre-flight observations and local conditions are good. Time to get our newest astronaut off the ground. And you'll be our first astronaut ever equipped with a Nomai translator tool. I confess, I've been giddy all day just thinking about it. We're better equipped than ever to unravel the mysteries of the Nomai. You and Hal should be very proud of your work. Tell me, what's your plan once you're in space? I'm going to learn more about the Nomai. I'll meet up with the other travelers. I want to go somewhere no one's gone before. I think I'll start with something small. I don't know. I'm going to wing it. I want to do all of these things. But how do I answer? I'm going to wing it. Learning to follow in the footsteps of Felspar and the great Outlaws Ventures tradition, aren't you? I might have guessed. Well, see if you can't put the... Oops, I skipped that. Well then, I'm ready to die in space. Excellent, you'll be needing the launch codes then. Here they are. Best get off the ground before Slate makes any more modifications to your ship, eh? Good luck out there. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Launch code dash dash line dash dot dot dash line dot. I hope I don't need to remember that. there's other rooms here. Strange rock moving around this grotto appears to react to conscious observation. The level-headed among us realize there must be some sort of optical illusion at play. Gabbro claims the rock exists in all possible states until it is observed. That's a quantum physics joke. Whatever is actually happening, both sides of this debate agree the effect is extremely creepy. Yes, that is true. Oh, that is well implemented. I love that. Uh, any more hidden rooms? I guess not. Let's get out of here. What the? Okay. Those eyes were closed before, right? Did he just absorb my memories or something? I don't know if I want to leave yet, but I guess I have to. Hey, so did you get a good look at the Nomai statue? The statue looked at me and opened its eyes. The statue was glowing. Why was it glowing? Whoa, the statue was doing what? So its eyes opened and then you saw images from your own memories and glowing lights flying around? You mean like a hallucination? I said no offense, but are you sure you're okay to launch, like medically speaking? No, that statue is definitely weird. I mean, if you're saying it happened, then I guess maybe it did, but why? Morpheus tried everything to get the statue's eyes to open, and nothing like this ever happened to him. To them. I don't think you're gonna get any answers from the museum statue. Gabbro said they weren't going back to Giant's Deep. Don't know which island they're on, though. Maybe they'd be able to tell you more. On the other hand, Gabbro's, Gabbro. So maybe you'd be better off searching for more info on your own. So, from what I understand, this person Gabbro is like the wacky guy. Everyone thinks he's crazy. But maybe he's the only one who's crazy enough to know that, there's some weird shit happening. Like with the statue. I mean, he was right about quantum matter. Jeez, now I'm really jealous you're going to space. Hey, see if you can use our translator tool to find out more about the statue, okay? Good luck, I'll say bye. Does this game have fall damage? I really want to find out. Also, how and when does it save? Up to Tefra. Wait, that's... Don't worry, I'll come back. Orvals will be really sad if you don't come back, like how sad it makes them to talk about Spellspar. So you should make sure you don't get lost in space too. I'll make sure, buddy. I'll make sure not to get lost in space until the end of the game. Those spots are the eyes, right? You have 4 eyes. I see. Should we practice some more? No. We'll figure things out. Although I feel like that's the one place where I'm gonna get stuck. There's gonna be some part where you need to maneuver your spaceship with a lot of skill, and I won't have that skill. And it's gonna suck. I might need to bring out my controller then. That's the observatory. The one and only Hardian village, as well as the main source of explosions on this planet. Now my statue in the observatory opened its eyes and looked at me. I saw strange glowing lights and my own memories flashed before my eyes. Hal says the statue has never opened his eyes before, despite Wormful's best efforts. A cave at the very center of Timber Hut, used by Outer Worlds Ventures to train new astronauts. I successfully repaired another satellite for GhostSat. Find in rumor mode. What is this? I see. It's like a mind map connection thingy. Hal says Gabbro went back to Giant's Deep to try to learn more about the Nomai statue in the observatory. The Nomai text in the observatory talks about calibrating some sort of device on the Atl rock. I see. It's giving me like stuff, threads to follow up on. It's very interesting. The Atl rock, the Nomai text. I see. That's cool. So I can either look at these entries in the map view or in this kind of mind map kind of thingy. That's good. Isn't this the gravity manipulation rock thingy? Wait, are we using that to manipulate gravity within the spaceship? Oxygen refill, spot a tree, walk towards it. Enjoy. Okay, that's funny. You refill your oxygen by enjoying a trees. Embrace. Buckle up. Lift off, landing camera, shift, lift off. Not sure about using my mouse and keyboard for this, to be honest. But we'll figure it out. Oh my god, there's a tiny ant on my arm. I can lock onto the sun. Engage autopilot. That's cool. Wait, what? Wait a second, what is this? This is not. Put away launch scout. That was not the. What do you call it? Unknown. What is that? Change frequency. Whoa. Hide and seek. Oh, right, because we were playing hide and seek. Whoa, 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 whoa. I did not realize I was. Well, that's the respawn mechanic, I guess. So that statue is gonna bring me back. What is happening there? Did I just die? Am I gonna respawn at the same place every time? Or is it gonna be different? Or are there gonna be like more statues which are gonna be like a save point? Interesting. I guess we shall see. Okay. Should we go to... Let's go to the moon. The moon. So night we steal the moon. R hold and mouse is roll. Left alt is free look. I see. No, wait a second, where's the moon? There you are. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's some pretty bad autopilot, isn't it? Wait, that was it? You're not gonna actually land me there? Whoa, 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 whoa. Am I stable? I think so. Do I need the spaceship? Hello, Nippy Lippy. How are you doing? Let me shout you out. Heading to bed soon. Yes, Otter was here too. He just went to sleep a while back. He's really living the SEA sibling life. That's his time zone now. This is so trippy. Hope you have a good stream. Thank you. I will. It is so dark. Sleep well. Good night. Okay, I can't see anything right now. Can we have some? Oh, wait, I have a flashlight. There's a tree. Unidentified signal nearby. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? Talk to Esker. Oh, hey, it's you. Ground control didn't tell me you were launching. Long time no see. Actually, I guess it's been a long time since I've seen anyone. Don't the other travelers come by? Was that you whistling? Seems lonely up here. What is this place? Don't the other the lunar outpost saw more traffic back when our ships were less sophisticated and needed more frequent repairs. Nowadays, it's mostly used to keep a set of eyes on things. Sometimes Short comes by to say hi, but Gabro is Gabro, and you know how Rebek feels about unnecessary spaceflight. Don't go. I mean, anything else you want to ask? Ah, seems lonely up there. Up here. A little. I'm in touch with ground control, hornbills and ghost sand mostly, and they radio up to chat now and then. And when ground control gets them up here, and they usually do, I launch my little scout at the village. They forget about you? You spy on us? I don't blame them. I'm sorry, I'm eating some fries. I don't blame them for one. I don't check in as often as the other travelers since I'm always in one place. And it's not so bad up here, really. At least it's peaceful and quiet. You don't always get that in our solar system, let alone in our village. Was that you whistling? Probably, or actually definitely. The other travelers carry instruments, so they don't bother whistling. You can pick up their music with the signal scope, you know. Best spot for that is the North Pole. Great reception. North Pole is marked in red on your mini-map, but the Attlrock is a pretty small moon, really. Just go north, you can't miss it. What is this place? Ah, very fine. No stars above. You're serious, aren't you? That's just depressing. Can I actually ask the wrong questions and make everyone think I'm an idiot? Welcome to the Lunar Outpost, which apparently the space program doesn't bother to teach anyone anymore. When we first started Outer Wilds, travelers used to bring their ships here all the time for repairs. Our spacefaring technology has improved loads since then, but the older ships tended to fall apart a lot, like more than they do now. Using the outpost cut down on the number of launches and landings taking place in the village and also the number of fires. Nowadays, though, it's mostly just me up here, raising saplings from timber hearth and keeping an eye on things. Talk to you later. Stench stick. Doze off. Should I doze off? Yeah, I don't think I need my suit, do I? I think I can breathe just fine because that guy's wearing a suit. I'm gonna sleep for like 2 hours. Unidentified signal nearby. I don't know what that means. It's a refuel jetpack. I don't need that. How do I find this unidentified signal? That's him. Is it just this guy? Signal identified Esker. Nice. Huh. Do I want to go to the North Pole? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Esker's signal scope log. Day 48. Still not picking up Rabeck's banjo from Brittle Hollow. I'm sure they're fine, but I feel better once I can hear their music. Day 51. Listen to Chert play for a while today. Unrelated. Someone should tell Porphy and Gosan their flirting is not subtle from an aerial perspective. Banjo music coming loud and clear today. Sound like Rabeck's doing okay. That oaf, I was worried. Today I thought I heard something strange. I don't know. It was probably nothing. No, it's back again today too. Something strange is coming from Timber Hearth. Okay, I know this is crazy, but the sound from Timber Hearth sounds exactly like Feldspar's harmonica. But Feldspar disappeared in space ages ago. It can't be them. It's still here. This is creepy. Maybe my signal scope is broken. I'd better talk to Niece. Oh, that is interesting. Felspar's harmonica. Somewhere in. Oh, that's interesting. So everyone thinks Felspar is lost in space, but he's just somewhere on their home planet? No, give me a second. Let me check my rumors. Oh, I like this. Lunar ruins. Carries a device on the Atl Rock. Should we try to find this? Since we are on the Atl Rock. Yeah, I guess we need. How was that dude able to survive without his spacesuit? Esker. Oh, right, because he was near the trees. Oh my god. Was that Feldspar? Lucky I'm in a time loop because otherwise I'd be super dead. You're lucky I don't have you grounded for medical reasons because I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, that's funny. Part of me wants to go back and talk to Hornfels about this situation, but then he's like really far away. So I guess we are going back to the moon. Okay, let's try to find the moon. Whoops. Unbuckle. Where am I? Man, there's so much happening here. If I go down there without my suit, I don't know if I can get back up. Is it like the other side? I'm probably on the wrong side. Where was that crater again? That's Esker. That's an instrument. That's Esker. What is that? It's really far away. Ah. Esker's there. Church reset notes, property of church. I've detected a strange signal coming from somewhere within the grove in this crater. It's very similar to the signal emitted by the quantum moon, so it stands to reason the two signals are probably related. We don't know much about the quantum moon, seeing as no one has ever been able to land on it, but hopefully studying the signal in the grove will reveal more about it. Okay. Okay. That's feldspar, right? Whoopsies. Is that the quantum moon that way? Wait, Grove Shard. Quantum fluctuations. Okay. So that's quantum fluctuation. I see. That's interesting. Wait, did it just move? That's crazy. Okay, so I came here to, are there multiple? The quiet shade. It's always dark in the ancient glade across old bark. Oh my gosh. Do I heal? I hope I do. Okay, let's go back. No, wait. I would like to find Mr. Feldspar. But to do that, I need to... Whoopsies. It's on like the other side of the planet, I guess. What is that? Man, there's so much to explore. No, 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 wait, wait, wait. I would like to go back, please. Am I actually controlling this? Um, can I straighten my ship before I get out? Hey, yo, hatchling, thought you were taking that tin can of yours into space today. What are you still doing here? Me? I saw something crash over the horizon and didn't like what I was seeing in these pictures my little scout was sending back. So I thought I'd come over here and take a look. So what crashed? Is that a dark bramble seed? You think so? It's nothing I've ever seen on Timber Heart before, so you're probably onto something here. Whatever it is, it puts down roots in a hurry. I don't like the look of this thing hatchling, and that's a fact. Think I said Mar and Hal who's on it. Best get rid of this mess sooner rather than later, and no one can remove an unwanted plant faster than a tree keeper can. I have to get a look at what's inside the seed first, though. Don't want to set anybody to hack up a potentially dangerous plant without a better idea of what's lurking inside. It's Feldspar. He's inside there. Tough cannot be hauled, the old scout launcher over here. Obviously, the opening is too small for someone to fit inside, and anyway, I'm not gonna blindly stick my hands into anything that looks as unpleasant as that seed does. That's a good way to lose an arm or two. What? Rotate camera. One, two, three. Uh-huh. Mm, I threw a little scout into the seed. You did you? And you're telling me it's bigger on the inside than on the outside? Yes, sir. This is going to be a chore to chop up, but no mistake. Can we even remove a seed that doesn't have the decency to stay the same size all the way through? Maybe I better grab an extra axe or three just in case. My signal scope is picking up a harmonica inside the seed. Inside the seed, huh? Don't know what happened. Don't know what to tell you there. The only harmonica player I know is Felspar, and they disappeared ages ago. I said, yeah, don't go telling nice about the harmonica music, okay? They'll never let me get rid of this dance seed if they suspect it has any musical talent. You sure this seed isn't from Timberhearth? Back in my younger days, I explored everywhere there is to go in Timberhearth and saw everything there is to see and then some. Trust me, we don't have anything like this. Now I reckon this thing's from Dark Bramble if it's from anywhere, hatchling. Can I go in? I really want to. I guess not. Um, so Mr. Feldspar is in there. I can't go in right now. I think. Uh, okay, give me a second. I will check my computer over here. I love this map, this rumor mode so much. Church recent notes mention a quantum moon that no Hardian has been able to land on. That's gonna be my job, isn't it? There's a strange rock shard in this grove. It moves when I'm not watching. It emits a signal on the quantum fluctuation frequency. I found a poem written on one of the trees in the grove. Ah. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Like tree seed, which is like a portal to an alternate dimension or something. Should I try to find that lunar thingy? Maybe. Where's the moon? It's autopilot. Are we down? Are you? Huh. Okay, that's Amber and Ash, right? The twin planets or whatever. Okay, where do I find this? Hello? Um, that's the North Pole. I've been there before. Ooh. I might have gone a bit too far. Oh, that was perfect landing. Play recording. Church research notes property of church. This is an old crater. The neat thing here is that the composition of the samples that I took from the impact site matches the composition of ice on the outskirts of Dark Bramble. I'd posit the Atoll Rock was hit with a piece of the planet that used to be where Dark Bramble now lies. To follow upon, maybe there are more fragments of the old planet Dark Bramble destroyed on the other astral bodies in the solar system. Maybe, maybe. But it doesn't look like this is where... Wait, what? Sorry, I had to sneeze for a bit. um, what was that? The comet-like trail. My ship is that way. What is this? Okay, I should probably close this. Um, I'm getting so lost in my directions. What's with the music? It just picked up all of a sudden. Okay, I'm out of that crater. My ship is there. I think that's Esker's outpost. I'll get my oxygen. It's my ship. There's the... Don't tell me that thing that we just went over. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Uh, uh, okay. Okay. So our sun is going supernova. So I have a limited amount of time to explore before the sun goes supernova. And okay, what the hell is that? Every time I wake up I see it. Such an interesting premise. You know what, I'm gonna suit up already. Because it's like something I need for most places. Okay, do we go back to the moon or do we try something else this time? Giant's Deep, maybe. I kinda wanna finish up with the moon first. Where is the moon? There you are. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's the scout thing. Put away. Wait, I see it. I see it. I see it. Please move. should match velocity. And now I should head towards it. Oh, that was a bit harder than I wanted. Um, um, there you are. Um, what the hell? I need to line up the circles. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. I have no idea what the hell. Dude, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I should check out that thing too, by the way. Ah, whoa, calm down. Why am I? What is this hoop doorway for? I don't understand. Okay, let's go down. Trees detected. Great. I was upstairs testing the eye signal locator, and it can hear and follow the signals from the sun, Giant's Deep, and Brittle Hollow. Remove scroll. What? However, something strange is happening when I ask the eye signal locator to follow the eye signal. The device's indicator rotates wildly and never points to just one direction. Okay. I see. Most likely calibrated the locator incorrectly. Privet, my apprentice, and I will make adjustments and try again. This is a curious result. It's possible the eye has stopped calling out its signal. What if you're on the eye right now? An update, disappointingly, everything is correctly calibrated after all. It saddens me to posit this, my friends, but I believe this locator cannot detect the eye signal. You would need to build a more sensitive device if you want to locate the eye of the universe. The eye of the universe. Then we will build it. Don't lose hope. Our search for the eye is what brought our clan to this place. We won't give up so easily. So they were looking for something called the Eye of the Universe. Is that what they think it looks like? Is it gonna end up just being like our sun or something? Whoa, whoa, whoa. If I take this scroll and I put it... Okay. Where should this new, more sophisticated locator be built? It may need to be larger than this eye signal locator is. There's quantum moon locator there. Okay, so there's a quantum moon locator on the Ember Twin. But the heat of the sun made its construction challenging. I wouldn't recommend building on that planet. The southern glacier on Brittle Hollow has ample space available. I could construct a new building to house this proposed locator. Yes, let's build there. I imagine our young friend Konoi would enjoy that immensely. He's always had a great interest in the eye, especially for a child born so long after the crash. I will begin construction on Brittle Hollow's south pole immediately. So there's an eye locator at the south pole of Brittle Hollow. Okay. Very interesting stuff. Ah. Oh wow. I've seen this written in other travelers' pictures, but seeing it for myself, it's really old, isn't it? But wow, this is the coolest day of my life. Okay, time for some official notes. So this is some kind of Nomai locator. It can point out the different planets. This is incredibly cool, by the way. But from what little I can understand of the writing here, I think it was built to try to find something specific. I'm not sure. I also was able to translate something about the South Pole of Brittle Hollow, so I'll fly there to see if I can learn more. Yep, just gonna get back in the old ship and take off. Totally safe, mostly safe. Oh, stars above. This is so interesting. So, this thing is like a locator? Because I have this orb there, is it like constantly tracking a particular... What is it tracking? Not the sun. What's behind this? Oh, it's tracking that. That's supposed to be the eye. Is this gonna track the sun now? Yeah. Where's my ball? So either the eye is a quantum moon or something, or it's the Addle Rock itself. But then, if it was the Addle Rock, then surely when they went to Brittle Hollow and built a new eye locator, they would have seen it, right? So that can't be it. Okay, let's go to... I wonder how much time I have left. Huh. You know what? Let's make the most of it. Let's just read our ship logs, I guess. Raybeck headed to Brittle Hollow. Okay, okay. Gabbro went to Giant's Deep. I guess we go to Gabbro then? That's Giant's Deep, isn't it? What is that then? Wait, this... Did I... What is this? Can I land on that? Oh my god. Oh my god. What the hell was that? Is it safe to get out here? Maybe. Maybe it is. Um. Whoa. Nice. It's you. Good to see you made it here in one piece. The first solo launch is a doozy, isn't it? So hey, don't freak out or anything, but lately I keep like dying repeatedly. I don't know, it's pretty weird. What about you? Have you died lately or is it just me? No, it's me too. You're in a time loop. Oh my god. But that dude, Esker didn't mention this. Huh. Time has been behaving unusually lately. Yeah, a time loop makes sense. Cool. You're taking this pretty well. What do you think it was? I figured it'd be some kind of fidgety time business, but I wasn't really thinking about what's happening to the shape of time. But loop makes sense here. Let's go with loop for now. It looks like you and I are the only ones who can tell that time's gone all weird. I tried radioing Hornfels and asking if they died too, but they thought I was being metaphorical. Even if I tell Hornfels about the time loop, they never remember by the next one. They don't realize anything's different. That's very interesting how this guy is also. Did he see the statue's eyes or whatever? And here's another weird one for you. Every time I die, all of my memories from that loop replay back to me. I'm pretty sure that's related to this big stone Nomai statue I found on one of the other islands. I was looking at it and the statue opened its eyes and started glowing. It replayed my memories like it had seen them through my own eyes, just like what happens each time I die. That happened to me with the statue at the museum. You too, huh? No, my statues must have something to do with why we are the only ones aware of the time loop. So, no glowing statue, no time loop. Are we dying? Ah, hello? What the hell? Ah, I wish I got to finish my dialogue before. I found your quantum poem. It works out to a good 24 poems. When I'm done exploring, I want to make some more quantum art. I found something. Actually, never mind. What are you doing out here? Well, what are any of us doing here, really? Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm out here exploring our solar system, same as you. But I tell you what, so outer space really gives you room to think. It's quiet and peaceful out here. I mean, it's usually quiet and peaceful. Sometimes a cyclone comes by and lifts my little island paradise clean out of the water. Then less peaceful. Where should I explore on Giant's Deep? There's something in my lake. At the start of every time loop, I keep seeing a bright flash in the sky. Something must be happening up there in orbit around the planet. Yes, exactly. I saw that thing, right? The I don't know, the yellowish structures, something blue shot out of it, shoots out of it every time I wake up. What else? What else? Have you been to Statue Island? That's where I've been calling it, seeing as it's the island where I found the glowing Nomai statue. Get it? I was on the beach on Statue Island when the whole glowy business happened, by the way. It's a nice beach for that kind of thing. I give it a solid 7 out of 10 on the Gabbro relaxation scale. If you feel like checking out Statue Island, it's the one with two islands connected by a natural rock art. Well, mostly connected anyway, you'll see. What's up with this planet? Haha, I know, right? Oh, you mean like tell you more about it? I gotcha. Well, Giant's Deep is a massive and mostly water. Giant's Deep is massive and mostly water. No surprises there. There's a strong current a ways beneath the surface that prevents anything from sinking below it. Seriously, I tried everything I could think of to get past that current, and neither idea worked. As for land masses, I've counted 4 islands, including this one. There's also the one with the Nomai statue I found on the beach. You've seen the cyclones? Yeah, they're hard to miss. They'll toss up everything in their path, islands included. Little tip, if you get picked up, try to land in water. Less likely to kill you. Where's your ship? That's a good question. It's definitely on this planet somewhere. I mean, unless a cyclone came by and tossed it into space, I guess. That would be pretty nuts. But it's not lonely. Okay. Is this? Yeah, I thought so. Oh, I thought I could just run through it. I guess not. Well, I made a lot of progress that loop, I guess. Ah, so one more loop. Do you want to try talking to Hornfels? Maybe not. Gabbro did say that he's tried it and he never remembers, so wait. Oops. Can I? Can I go? Where was that thing? The something launcher. Where is brother? Hello? Can I touch anything? Probably not. Let's... Hey, look at this. The statue opened its eyes. Bet you wish you'd seen that happen, huh? Me too. I'm not even a little closer to understanding what's going on with the statue. Was there something you needed? Where are the other travelers? Let's see. George is on the Hourglass Twins, Rebek is on Brittle Hollow, and Gabbro is on Giant Steep. And there's Felspar, obviously, but of course we don't know where they are or if they're even still alive. Felspar has been lost for a very long time, I'm afraid. Tell me more about Felspar. Felspar was one of the 4 founding members of Outer Wilds, along with their flight coach Gosson, Slade the engineer, and me. As ground controller and later the museum curator, I didn't work with Felspar as closely as Slade as Gosson did. I can tell you Felspar was absolutely fearless though. Nothing scared them. Despite everything Slade ever built, it's a wonder Felspar lived to see space, frankly, but they did. Do all sorts of dangerous stunts and explode everything they could find. And then one day they just didn't come back. We don't know what happened or where Felspar went or even whether they're still alive. So they went to Dark Bramble, they went inside that sea thing, and they're trapped in there. It's that simple. Hey, you gotta see this. Those are very goat-like eyes. Where do I find the... Oh wait, it was at the top, wasn't it? The scout launcher for the thorny seed thing. This is a camera. Where's this? It's up there. Um. Okay, let's go talk to the guy that hates. Oh my god. The guy that hates the trees. Can we not make them go and cut the tree or whatever? I guess not. Ah, very well. What is this path? Have I been? Yeah, I've been here before, haven't I? Pretty sure I have. %50 fuel remaining. Okay, let's head out once more. Okay, so the question is, where do we go? There's something on those yellow thingies, but then I... Okay, never mind. Okay, that's lots of cyclones. Islands. How do I find the islands? Okay, there's something there. That's okay. How do I um honestly, that's Gavro's Island, I guess. Ghost matter inside this tunnel, so I can't take it, can I? Oh no. Oh my god. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is wrong with the way my ship is? So when it's filled with water, it's not ghost mattery. Okay. Um, is there anything to do here? I don't see anything to do here. Can I? Okay. Let's take a look at this. One of them has a Snow White statue, looks like the one Gabriel brought back. Statue Island is the one with two islands connected by a natural rock arch. Something must be happening. Okay. Nah. Let's try to find Statue Island, I guess. Okay, that's it. That's it. That's it. Is this gravity? Nah. Can I put the ship in there? Oh, didn't really do much, but okay. Statue workshop. Oh my god, let me go. Um, what the hell? Oh, oh my god, that is so cool. Do it, do the light thing. Oh, they're going to test the memory statues tonight. Block says it could be dangerous, so we can't come. But what if we didn't use the door and snuck in the other way? Does anyone want to? I really want to see the test too. allow me, but that's a huge risk to take. We probably shouldn't. Maybe Flox will let us see a later chest. Flox specifically told us not to do that. Ah. Ooh. Can I not take a... Can I not translate these things? Okay, so those look like teleportation portals or something. I think we had one right outside. How would I use it? Excuse me, can I get out of this place, please? There's gotta be a way to activate these, right? Be right back. Oh no. Is it happening? Well, I ran out of time. Hello, Squeemeister. How you doing? I like the use of four eyes emoji. What is that? Ah, I'm well, thanks. How are you? I'm doing good too. No, it is like 1:30 a.m. for me. I should probably go to sleep now. I just wanted to do like a quick stream to test if this game works fine. Because at first it was stuttering a lot for me, but now it seems to have stabilized quite a bit. Especially, I think, yeah, okay, you can still see a little bit of stuttering. It's fine, it's not unplayable now. I think it has some issues with mouse and keyboard, so I switched to controller for a bit. Then I came back to mouse and keyboard and it seems to be fine now. But yeah, there's still a lot for me to discover yet. I have barely scratched the surface. But I kind of don't want to end. Let's take a look at these entries. This island must be where the Nomai created statues like the one in our observatory. I found a Nomai statue lying on the beach. It looks just like the one in our observatory. I found a sign for a statue workshop next to a broken door that used to lead inside the island. Some Nomai children debated bypassing the statue workshop store and sneaking inside via an alternative, more dangerous route. I can see into a large cave from one of the ruins on top of the island. The bottom of the cave is filled with water, so do I need to swim? Okay, so that's the more dangerous route. It's to swim. Gabbro. Members dying. Gabbro and I seem to be the only ones aware we are in a time loop. See, that's interesting because in a lot of time loop stories, it's usually just the main character who's aware of the time loop. So it's interesting you have this one NPC character who's not super invested in the story. He's just lying in his hammock playing his instrument, but he's still part of the loop, so that's kind of cool. I think I've read all of these. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to go back to the Statue Island. Because if I need to swim, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. We could go to like Brittle's Hollow or whatever. I don't know how I deal with this. How do I move forward in this? I need to get Feldspar out of that thing, the seed. Yeah, this guy, what was his name? Rybeck. He's on Brittle Hollow, South Pole. So I could go find him, or them, I should say. Since these other species seems to be genderless. But yeah, I think I'll probably end there for now. Reset loop and quit the main menu. Yes. Let's listen to the menu music while I look for someone to raid. This person seems to be in a pretty early playthrough too, so I guess we could go raid them because I don't want to be majorly spoiled. They're on day 2. Outer Wilds first playthrough, day 2. They have 1 viewer right now. Yeah, I think we shall raid them. This is the raid message if anyone wants to copy it. Good night, Screenmeister. Have you played this game? I'm assuming you have. Have you completed it? 'Cause I've heard a lot of good things about it, and thankfully the community does not spoil it. From what I understand, it has a pretty, I don't know, mind-blowing ending or touching ending. But yeah, if it gets spoiled, then it's kind of not fun. So yeah, I've heard a lot of good things without people spoiling it, which is always a good sign. Yes, it's an amazing game. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Well, I will be playing more of it. But yeah, good night for now. Let me start the raid. This person is on their first playthrough, day 2. So they're probably ahead of me, but I will try not to spoil myself too much. Good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful, well, if it's day for you, then a good day. If it's the night, just squint through one eye. Okay, I hope that's some sort of a cryptic clue that will come in useful sometime. Thank you. But yeah, bye bye.